Okay, today we are here to discuss a case that occurred on November 16, 2015. And as law enforcement as a family, there are certain cases that we have that we feel like kind of haunt us at night, and we carry these kind of cases home with us, and we just can't seem to escape them. This case is a case where an officer was attacked on November 16th, approximately 1:47 in the morning. We're very lucky today that our officer is in good shape. She's at work today and doing her job. This could have been a serious offense and where we lost one of our officers' lives. The night this happened, it was similar to today. It was very overcast. It was wet. The officer was on routine patrol. She was checking a neighborhood. It's a neighborhood, Oak Hill, that is under construction with new houses. Where she was at, it was pitch black. There were no street lights. She came across a subject that was wearing a black hoodie, had a skeleton face mask on, and what we understand is that she thought she had either encountered someone breaking in vehicles or breaking in residence in the location. And oftentimes, as in Anderson here, we get busy. The officers are on the radio. There's constant radio traffic. And as she got there, she saw the suspect. She was getting out with him. She did not have time to get out on the radio due to the radio traffic on our channel. She stepped out of the car, was going to use her walkie to call out where she was at. And at that time, the suspect had already rushed her. The physical fight was on at that time, and there was a struggle that ensued. The suspect was able to pin our officer during the struggle, and basically that's what our officers are trained to do, their physical activity. A little bit about this officer, Kristen Brady. She's been here at the department since 2008. She is a Class 1 and Class 2 officer, so what that means is she is a detention certified and officer certified on the road. During the struggle, what troubles us the most is this suspect attempted to remove the officer's handgun. Suspect grabbed the gun and forcibly took her to the ground. Struggle ensued. And there's no doubt in our minds that this suspect's intention was to kill the officer. Probably the best thing we did at this department last year was upgrade our weapons, and we also upgraded our holsters. Each officer here carries a threat level 3 holster, and there's no doubt in my mind that that holster is what saved her life, because the suspect could not figure out how to get that holster out. At some point, the suspect pulls out a knife, his own knife. He attempts to stab the officer during the struggle, and they both go to the ground. Suspect is able to get away from the officer and flees toward the wood line. Our officer is able to crawl back to her car and gets on the radio. And at that time, as we say, the cavalry comes. We set up a perimeter. Suspect fled in the wood line toward Wedgewood Drive. So where that is, you're in Oak Hill subdivision, you're fleeing toward Kings Road. The officer set up a perimeter. The sheriff's office comes at that time and helps us. They set up their bloodhound. We run our tracks. While we're actively running the track, officers have the perimeter set up. Suspect enters the crime scene where we're at, and that's Christy Lynn Hendricks. She shows up at the location. She's looking for her boyfriend, Brian Keith Gary. He's supposed to be down in the woods, allegedly hunting rabbits. We have issues with that. He says that he's hunting rabbits with a BB gun at 1:30 in the morning. And like I say, you have to remember this area. It is solid black. There are no homes down in this area. It's a dead-end street. It's an area that's slated for new construction. 1:30 in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning, hunting for rabbits. So during this bloodhound track, they are headed the wood line from Oak Hill, Wedgewood, back up toward Anderson Village Apartments. At the same time, officers are out with Christy Lynn Hendricks, and we're gaining information that she lives at Anderson Village Apartments. She's going back to her apartment. Officers escort her back to her apartment based on this information. During the same time, the officers locate a black hoodie at Anderson Village Apartments. They bring the bloodhound to where the black hoodie is at. Determine that it's just a child's hoodie. It is not part of the crime scene, what we're looking for. But while we're there, the other officers that are with Ms. Hendricks, they radio and say, well, that is the same apartment we're headed toward. Officers on location, along with the Sheriff's Office deputies, knock on the door at 10F Anderson Village Apartments. As they knock on the door swings open. And as our standard policy is, in that type of instance, we go ahead and clear the residence due to the fact it could have been a possible break-in. Along with all the activity we got going on, they go ahead and clear the residence. They locate Brian Keith Gary in the apartment. He's yelling who's there while they're inside there. They locate an active one-pot boiling, which is an active meth lab for us. At that point, Brian Keith Gary is detained, and also the renter of that apartment, which is Christy Lynn Hendricks, is detained. Police department obtains a search warrant. We recovered methamphetamine out of the apartment, and also they're facing manufacture of methamphetamine. Their connection to this is where we need the assistance from the public to connect the dots. Ms. Hendricks places Brian Keith Gary down in the location when this incident occurred. Ms. Hendricks is actually down there within 5 to 10 minutes after this occurs. We know that meth is involved in this. They actually had a working meth lab at Anderson Village. And what we need is the public's assistance to connect this to the assault. Where these two individuals were actually involved in the assault, or they have knowledge in what occurred that night. And with the assistance of Crime Stoppers here in Anderson County, what we've been provided is a $1,000 cash reward, and that's for the arrest of this individual or individuals responsible for this. I think what we would like is if anybody was in that area at the time and saw anything suspicious. It could have been a suspect walking down the street, running down the street on a bicycle, something that just seemed out of place. Black hoodie, somebody that has knowledge of somebody that wears a black skull mask with actually a skeleton face. That really stands out. Remind 1-888-CRIME-SC. That is the number we want you to call, and that's 1-888-274-6372. And those go to the Fusion Center in Columbia, and we'll get those tips immediately. Thanks.